The GS leg of Mains 2024 is just over. And the weekend we have these optionals as well as language papers. For somebody who is seriously looking at Mains 2025, this is a time for grind. This is a time for improvement. Over and over years, we have seen students who have grind their preparation in the next coming 2 to 3 months. They are the ones who come out with flying colors in the next year. So this is a make or break situation. As a student, you should be keenly looking at two major factors. The first one, we had just got all the papers. You might have seen the ethics, you have seen the trend analysis videos on Kalam IAS, and a lot of other toppers, all other videos are floating in the market. So what exactly you have to pick from this? Every year UPSC keeps some surprises, keep some changes, keep some elements continued floating, keep some specific importance of certain parts. So you need to have a fair understanding on what are the topics UPSC is asking, what are the changes they are trying to bring in the questions, in the way questions are being asked. Fair understanding you should get. And you should orient your preparation. We have this replay program. It will give you a fair analysis on what is your level of preparation, and based on that you should plan how much importance you should give into optionals or GS1 or essay or ethics or any other paper, depending on what is your current level of preparation. Now this is whole the content part. Now more importantly, for a student of Mains 2025, the important thing keenly focus on is to maintain the continuity. If you are not finding the motivation to wake up every day from current affairs, if I speak, to wake up, read newspapers, go through the newspapers, make some notes out of it. You have going to write this exam maybe after 1 year, but if you're not doing this routine, it's obviously difficult, and it is a time when there is high chances student to flatten, to just miss out the motivation, to miss out the routine. Keep a very keen note on this. Calculate your daily routine. Measure how much times you are studying. What exactly is distracting you. Keep yourself mentally, physically focused on the goal. Only if you can bring this discipline into your routine in these months, then only you have stand any chance to clear Mains 2025. You already have seen the days between prelims and mains are shrinking. If you are not prepared, you are not prepared for clearing this examination. So mains preparation should happen in these particular phases. Now, this is all from a student perspective. As educators, as an institute, this is also a time for us to reflect on what we have been doing, or what exactly are we delivering? Are we actually delivering value to the student community, or are we just, what are the changes we as an educator or an institute, what in the outcome we are trying to achieve, what more we should bring into the table? This is a time for us also for introspection and make the necessary changes. These are the broad themes we are focusing on in this particular video, and we especially focusing on the current edge 2024. If you see, we have been running this for last 2 years. What are the major learnings? How much you should emphasize on current affairs in mains preparation, and what is the optimum way to prepare this? I can easily give you a 1000-page booklet or more than that pages and tell you to read all of this. You will find almost every question in this. But from a student perspective, you have, for say the main students, you have 9 papers, you have optionals, you have essay, you have ethics, you have all the other subjects, history, geography, international relations. So for a student, what should be, how he can deliver content, whether it is our classes, whether it is our PDFs, whether it is our MIBs or current edge, how can we make the student able to comprehend this breadth of this examination, how to be more optimum in the preparation. That is like what the objective we are all trying to achieve in this platform. On that note, we will go to the major agenda of today's session. Let's have an overview of what exactly is being asked in Mains 2024 across the GS and ethics papers, and how current affairs plays a major role in analyzing or in comprehending a lot of factors in this examination. Let's go ahead. So this is, I guess, GS paper 1 we are starting with. You can see GS paper 1 this year, or the general trend. This is like a static heavy paper. You have this history, you have geography, which is hugely static. In society also, what we are seeing is hardly we will get a question from directly picked from current affairs. Mostly questions come from organically linked with current affairs, or maybe linking some certain part of the syllabus with other parts. We have seen previously, we have seen questions from Indian society linking with economy. Now this year, most of the Indian society questions, we see linkages with the GS2, the governance, the social justice part. So these innovations in Indian society is continuing. On the rest of the topics, we have highly static heavy part. But within this static heavy syllabus, there is a major role even current affairs plays in this, especially in geography. The questions are definitely picked from what is happening. The natural disasters, where there's a section where volcanoes, earthquakes, all these elements are being listed. The industries, all these questions have some current context to this. And at times it is important for you to understand this context. There are questions on new concepts also from geography section. Let's see some XYZ dimensions of this. See here, like this question, the second question. What is sea surface temperature rise? How does it affect formation of tropical cyclones? Even though it is seems a very static, very solid static question, because but if you are somebody who is reading newspapers, this is so much in news. So much in news. Where it is? It is recently we had a cyclone which hit Yagi, I guess some name like that. Cyclone which hit this Maharashtra and Gujarat. We have seen a unusual pattern of forming the cyclones in Arabian Sea. We have in last decade, we have cyclone Oki, which hit the Kerala coast, which also followed an unusual pattern. We have seen changes in Indian monsoon. We have seen the increasing the dry period in Indian monsoon and increasing intensity of rainfall in certain parts of monsoon. This lead to floods in different parts of the country, droughts in some other parts of the country. Now, if you boil down where this all changes, where driving force of all these changes boils down mostly to the rise in sea temperature of the Arabian Sea. So from this perspective, this is like extensively in news. We have also covered in multiple areas in connection with El Nino monsoon link, in connection with Pacific decadal oscillation, in connection with climate engineering. We have covered this particular topic, how sea rise temperature, increasing temperature in the ocean is linked with formation of cyclones, not just in Arabian Sea. This is in established phenomena, or you can say this observed phenomena in different parts of the world. But it's more prominent in Arabian Sea because these areas are not prone to cyclones. So this second question, see this question on cloud burst, a lot of you might have easily relate with this. We had a very devastating Himachal Pradesh cloud burst, which lead to a lot of human lives losses in just July, August time. So directly picked, this particular phenomenon was in news. So at least for last 1 year, you should be particularly aware of what are the major XYZ disasters. We have landslide disaster in Wayanad. We have cloud burst. We have floods in certain other parts of the country. So major developments, major incidents that is happening, you should keep a check of it. It can come in either geography, in environment, or disaster management. Different aspects can be asked. Now see this society question. Inter-caste marriages between caste which have socio-economic parity have increased to some extent, but this is less true for inter-religious marriages. Again, what is the context of this question? I know a lot of persons have subjective opinion regarding this. We have an anti-conversion law, especially UP's anti-conversion law. Has been topics of lot of editorials, how this is unconstitutional, how this prevents inter-religious marriages. Not just UP, Uttarakhand, or a lot of other states or Madhya Pradesh are also coming with already having certain laws like very stringent anti-conversion laws. Now, this implication is what it's leading to: crystallization of religious boundaries, or you can say religious polarization within the society is increasing. And this has its reflection on other structures like polity, like in elections, like in even in governance, even in this welfare schemes distribution. So this has been a topic of news in different parts, in different times, and there are a lot of editorials written on this. And one major criteria of controversy is regarding marriages. So there is some legal aspect. It's not just a social or socioeconomic question or socioeconomic factors. Should not limit your answer to socioeconomic factors. There is legal, you can say, gap or legal aspect also to this particular question. See the third question, the great cholas. The great UP's anti-conversion law. See this article which was published on August 18. UP's anti-conversion law will create social disharmony. It's an Indian Express article. Again, this is also talking about marriages. Go through the next question. Though the great cholas are no more, yet their name is still remembered with great pride because of their highest achievements in the domain of art and architecture. Comment. So what exactly the cholas? Cholas have been in news for multiple reasons. We have seen when the inauguration of the new parliament, when Senghol was, you can say, become a prominent factor or political topic of discussion, we have seen the importance of cholas. Very recent times, Port Blair has been renamed. Port Blair has been renamed to Sri Vijaya. Where the Sri Vijaya, this is in remembrance of the conquest of Cholas. Cholas, what Cholas are called? The great Cholas or the imperial Cholas. Again, the question is not regarding Senghol, question is not regarding the changing name of Port Blair. The question is regarding Cholas. But you can see the broad context of the question, where it is set. It is set on some certain developments that is happening in news regarding this. Aurora Australis and Aurora Borealis. Again, this is again taken from Indian Express explained page. In just a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks ago, we have a detailed article on both of these. What is the ideal time for viewing this, and what is the XYZ dynamics related to this? Regional disparity question. Lot of statement has been done on increasing regional disparity between North and South. One major context is the upcoming delimitation of constituencies and how these differences in population growth across different parts of the country is going to affect the political dynamics. Not just that, recently we had a statement from India's Prime Minister's economic advisor who spoke about the rising economic disparity between you can say, the Gangetic Belt on the states, the coastal region states. And this diversity, this instead of closing up, this is widening. And this all becomes a threat to, you can say, sovereignty of India. These are like Even though when we speak about threat to sovereignty of the idea of India, we mostly relate with China or Pakistan or other things. But the real threat is coming from internal weak linkages, and this increasing population in the north along with low per capita income, and you can say slowed population growth in the coastal states and the higher per capita income in these states, and how the political and the dynamics are going to playing out. This is one of the, you can say, time bomb that is ticking, and it is very important whoever is in the power who manages these effectively, manages this upholding justice. A lot of statements by political parties, by very prominent persons has been done on increasing not just economic, other disparities between different parts of the country. So this is like broadly GS1. You can see a lot of question context has been set in current affairs. This is a pattern across GS papers. See GS2. The question on one nation, one election, the question is much pinpointed. What are various committees and its recommendations? See, we have covered this very clearly, that Ramnath Kovind panel to study simultaneous election to Lok Sabha state assemblies. Lok Adalat. Lok Adalat question. Again, we have this also, like we will discuss this. See this particular question, which one is this? The fourth question in this list. What are the aims and objectives of recently passed the Public Examination Prevention of Unfair Means Act 2024? Exactly covered in our news case. Particular topic. If you have just seen this 10 minutes, 15 minutes video, you can have comprehensively answered this particular question. See, India's arbitration hub, India becoming arbitration hub, and India has brought in recently different laws regarding this. So arbitration is something which government is trying to push. Why the government is trying to push? Because when there is a conflict between government and some investor or some particular companies, what is current practice? The arbitration is done in some other countries where there can be some systemic bias against Indian government, against private sector, that may not be in line with the ideas India upholds. So India need its own base for arbitration, and this has been in news for multiple reasons. Similarly, the CAG report, CAG for one or the other reason, even though it seems particularly question picked from static or Lakshmikant, but it has its current importance. Especially see the question on, this is quite interesting, the bad news, and I know how many of you watched this movie. At least the song is very, very famous, and the theme of the movie, which speaks about the paternity or DNA test for paternity for a child in the womb of the particular actress, and accidentally the same theme is being picked for this question. Right to privacy question. Right to privacy is an intrinsic to life and personal liberty and is inherently protected under Article 21 of the Constitution. Explain. In this reference, discuss the law relating to DNA testing of child in the womb to establish its paternity. The same topic. I'm not saying you to go watch all the recent movies and make a list out of it. No, that's not the point. But keeping a curious eye open to sensations that is happening in the society, that can also aid sometimes in this examination. Now coming to international relations. Now there are few areas, like especially like international relations, internal security. These are like few areas where you can see direct questions are coming in this particular, from current affairs, from current developments, for polity, for GS1, and as well as in polity, in governance, in social justice. In all these parts, we have seen the context of many questions have been taken from current developments. There has been a related development to some XYZ elements, and the question has been derived from this. But this is not the case for international relations as well as internal security. Here, the direct, exact question comes from the recent development. And if you prepare this, you are going to score complete marks in this. And this is exactly what we preach in these classes. You have done a 2-hour video in YouTube. You can check out that video. The exact video covers 3 questions out of 4 questions that is asked from international relations. You might have gone through this MIB, this current edge international relation document, which sophistically and holistically covers each and every topic that is necessary for mains 2024. See this question: the West, how the West is seeing India. In the class also we have discussed this in the context of IPEF. We have so many times and again discussed. We have done this in a couple of days ago when we discussed, or when we write this article on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent visit to USA. There has been statements on the semiconductor, on this new 2 agreement India signed with respect to IPEF. Now, in this context, why IPEF is something like a pick out body, or why it is a standout body? Why it is a standout body? Because this is going against the Bretton Woods principles, which USA, the Western countries, has been upholding since time immemorial, or at least since the Second World War. And the world is going back, or at least West and US is going back from these principles. IPEF speaks about friendshoring. It is not a free trade agreement. It is going against the principles of free trade. It is speaking about friendshoring, that means moving the supply chain to your friendly nations or reliable nations. Yeah, so we have extensively discussed this. We have discussed this in the context of China's various actions. We have discussed this in the context of India-China relations, and we have discussed the same theme under the context of IPEF. See the next question. Critically analyze India's evolving diplomatic, economic, and strategic relation with Central Asian republics. We have step by step listed in our MIB which all topics to study, which all countries you should focus on. Neighborhood, you get question not on generic question on neighborhood. You get India's relation with certain countries. We had a question on India Sri Lanka. We had a question on India Bangladesh. So here you have to focus on countries. Then Indian major powers, you have to focus again on countries. But there are other, India and Central Asia. You don't need to focus on each and every countries. Region wise, India and West Asia, India and Southeast Asia. Similarly, India and Africa, India and Europe, because there is an FTA signed, EFTA deal which has been signed with these European group of countries. So this is how you should prepare. You again, every year you get a direct question from this. Again, counter-terrorism question. This is a little bit topic is covered in internal security, but as this is where I say we have also learning from this. From our MIB document, we have so far included the UN bodies. This is the second. Last year we have a question on this maritime organization. This year we have a question on this counter-terrorism committee. So this next year when we design this MIB's current edge, we are going to keep a keen focus on UN bodies. We are going to allot 3-5 pages for this. I strongly believe we need to systematically study this. This is a weak link from our document. The fourth question, the Maldives. Again, we have covered this topic. This has been in news. The Maldives minister is making derogative statements against India. And there has been a lot of responses from India as well as. So this has been in news and we have covered in our material. Next exact question is being asked. So this is like a low-hanging fruit in whole mains preparation. Prepare these MIBs and current edge material for international relations. And this is exactly going to be asked. Going to GS paper 3, this was also, we can see a lot of interlinkages being from our material. See this 2 questions directly picked from our economic survey. See the question on this spending, food inflation question, as well as the question is not listed here. Question on spending on social sector, the first question of GS paper 3. There has been a separate chapter for this in economic survey, chapter 7, and there has been exactly pin to pin covered in our MIB material. Same goes with the next part also, the food inflation and monetary policy question. Again, directly picked from economic survey, covered in our classes as well as our material. The millets, which is for one or the other reason has been in news for a lot of times. India becoming a millet hub 2.0. There has been budget announcement regarding it. So these kind of question you cannot miss and you should not miss. Now GS paper 3, the rest science and tech. Again, science and tech it is. I'm not claiming we got a lot of questions regarding this because mostly questions were tougher. Tougher not because it is new or out of the blue moon questions. Tougher because these questions were not too much expected. They are not picked directly from the syllabus. See this question on electronic toll collection. See this question on clean water, freshwater technologies. See the question on asteroids. We may have some idea of asteroids, but this is not routinely in news. So that is why it's been a little bit difficult. The question on intellectual property, we have extensively covered this in our material as well as in our classes. So this is, and in science and tech, you cannot study like prelims. You have to limit yourself to what syllabus is put before you. And in syllabus, you have space. That means you cannot go and study each and everything happening in the space. You have to limit yourself to India space programs, major space programs of the world, or recent developments that is happening in this particular sector. So similarly, you have to cover nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, each and every keywords or terms that is given in the syllabus. And we will stick to this, even though this has been an offbeat paper for science and technology. We have this confidence to say that the approach again still should be to rely on the syllabus. You can little bit go for current developments. You can follow the science section of the Hindu newspaper. Beyond that, stick to the basics is, despite getting an offbeat paper, is the advice, or you can say it's the takeaway for the science and technology section. Speaking of environment, energy, disaster management, here also you can see a lot of questions. We have covered the question on urban flooding. We have discussed the concept of sponge cities. Even this is a question from PYQs also. I guess this has been asked before. Question from internal security, as I discussed, the narco terrorism, the first page of terrorism, we have extensively covered this, and this has been asked on narco terrorism. Data Protection Act, directly taken from the material. If you have read this, you are going to score complete marks for this. Question on this border security with China and Pakistan. We have this in our booklet. We have this separate section of India's border issues and what can be the solutions and what can be the burning issues, and all this has been extensively covered, giving separate importance to this. India, China, India, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, every countries India is sharing borders with has been covered extensively. Direct questions from this. And the fourth question, that is on social media, and very specific question because encrypting messages. This has been in news when this IT rules, was government has came up with this in 2021. This has been in 2022 also. This has been too much in news because government cannot track encrypted messages. And this has been in news because the Telegram CEO has been recently arrested in France. This has been in news when these Apple iPhones, the federal, this FDA or the police in US will not grant, the Apple company will not grant the police access to, you can say, they encrypt the details of the phones which has been used by malicious groups or terrorist groups or any other such XYZ people. So this question I don't think we have covered in our materials, but 3 questions of internal security has been direct pick from the single material of 30-40 pages we have released. Now this is a very interesting, we have made a video on this specifically, but this is one of the, you can say, pick of this whole mains experience, that is integration of current affairs into ethics paper. I'm not saying next year we will get a paper like this, but for a student next year, if you are preparing ethics, simply learning your XYZ notes are not enough. You have to learn to apply these concepts into recent developments that is happening. And we, in our like daily brief series in Telegram channel, we on a regular basis you can check out this in our Telegram channel. We are covering this ethics news of the day. Each week you will get 3 or 4 subjects or topics which is relevant to ethics, and we will do an ethical analysis of this particular topic, and just follow this particular component of this material, and you will be very good to go in this ethics, integrating ethics into or current affairs into ethics paper. And you need to, beyond that, this is like building the content. Beyond that, you have to like bring this element of applied, learn to apply the principles of ethics. It's not enough you know the gerontology or utilitarianism or XYZ thinkers. It's more important you learn to bring out the concepts into the paper. So there you require, we as an educator also, we need to work on bringing this element into our ethics preparation. Now, what is the major takeaway? What are the major developments, or what is the major aspects you noticed in the whole discussion? We have, what is the role of current affairs in mains? Specifically, we are speaking about mains. See, we have seen some direct questions like this question on public examination, the question on cloudburst, the question from international relations, internal security, the question from economy, from economic survey. So we have for every paper at least 3-4 questions we have seen direct picks from current affairs. Now these are the questions you should not miss out. If you're missing, why I am saying you should not miss out these questions, because these questions, the nature of these questions are highly specific. These are not something you can answer if you simply know the syllabus. If you don't know the particular development related to this, you sometimes cannot answer this question. If you don't know the particular examination act, what are the provisions regarding this, you cannot do that. So that is something, the first major part of current affairs. And mostly how will you cover this? We have these content booklets provided before mains examination. That is best source for this. There is no absolute doubt in it. But the role of current affairs, that is not limited to direct set of 3 or 4 questions per paper. The role of current affairs goes much beyond this. The role of current affairs is setting the broader context for a lot of questions. Question on Cholas, question on Pallavas, question on a lot in GS, across GS, in GS2, the CAG question, the one nation, one election, that can be more like a direct question. But a lot of social justice question on poverty, on malnutrition, on federalism, on center state issues, on local governments. The context for all this question is set in current affairs. And it is, you can answer this question from syllabus knowledge, from Lakshmikant knowledge. But a good answer, you can say topper answer, should think in terms of current affairs. It is only when you can think in terms of what is happening in the recent past. If you can bring those things into your answer sheet, then only your answer, you can fetch good marks for these questions. If you're simply remembering certain facts and dumping it in the paper, then it is always going to be lacking. Now, other very important aspects of current affairs, especially in mains examination, is the thematic integration. Like a lot of questions directly from some other topics. Some see the ethics case. Need to learn to integrate whatever the static part you are revising, studying with the recent developments. You have to give some examples, some arguments, some points, some personality, some quotes, some sayings of prime minister or home minister or XYZ person. You have to bring this, you can say, the brownies, or you can say the value addition elements into your preparation. Then only it makes sense. These are the three aspects of current affairs. Here you will get, say, 10 questions, 7 to 10 questions. So in current affairs, if you like conclude what current affairs mean for mains, on three aspects you have to work. The first, don't miss these direct questions. We will have a direct content booklets for this. Just read the hard topic, 50 topics, you will good to go for this. Second, you need to understand the broader context. Here what you have to do, you have to do daily newspapers. Simply doing daily newspapers is not enough. You have to make some, you have to engage with the content, otherwise you will get bored. You will get bored, you will not read the newspapers, or even if you read, you are not going to remember it during the examination. So you have to pick, at least make a 1-page note every day from the newspapers and keep it into, or collect it, or you can say manage it over a period of the time. Here we daily provide the daily brief series in Telegram. Go through this material daily, 4 to 5 top pages, and we cover around 5 to 6 most important news, most important editorials from explain page, from prelims, data facts. We also covers different thematic news like ethics news of the day, or you can say quote of the day, notable statements by Prime Minister, data facts of the day. So this is combined. Like today I have done this news on transit oriented development. Very innovative concept. We can bring this in different answers. In urban planning answer, in migration, there was a question today. Into this year's paper, you can bring this concept of transit oriented development. Pollution related question. Delhi pollution, the transit oriented development is a solution. Lot of aspect you can relate with this. So but this learning should be in an integrated manner. This is not just for mains, in prelims also. Just after prelims we have made a video on this. Lot of question is not checking your facts. Lot of question is checking, are you aware of this particular development? If you are aware, just aware of something like this happened, you can eliminate options and find your answer. Now this awareness will not come if your current affairs, your approach to current affairs is to learn the 50 or 100 topics that is given by XYZ institutes just before the prelims. You have to develop this awareness on a regular basis. So this is where we offer the daily brief. This is where you have to little bit put your efforts. Now, what exactly Kalam IAS or is offering? Like we have, for the last 2 years, we have done this part. That means we have been running current edge for prelims, for mains, as well as interview. But again, this has some inherent limitations because we are missing out on this awareness building aspect. And this year we are going to expand this current edge framework. We want to bring some integrated current edge which a focus on both the prelims as well as mains, and this will force you to read or cover the recent developments on a weekly basis. Last year we had done this for prelims. Every Saturday we had these workbooks and prelims questions. So we are not limiting ourselves to the prelims. We will start with mains from October, then we will be running this till December, focusing on mains, covering the current affairs developments for mains. Then we will be shifting into the prelims focused mode. But that also we are not going to leave our mains or bigger developments that is happening for mains. So this is the overall approach for this integrated current affairs batch. There is a lot of work. You can cover the daily brief that is being published in Telegram. You can cover the news case and other videos that is given in our YouTube channel. Objective is you should be fairly aware of what exactly is happening on each and every syllabus topic. And we have, this is the 3 elements of current edge that comprehensively cover all your requirement for from current affairs perspective, whether it is for mains, whether it is for prelims, whether it is for interview. And we will make more videos on this. So your focus, particularly with respect to mains which we are speaking, should be on these three aspects. You should get like examples, you can get these, you can say pointers, you should get the fodder for enriching your answers. You should understand the broad context understanding for the broader questions, and you should click on the direct questions that is being asked. On that note, we will wind up the session. We will have more detailed videos on what exactly programs, what are modalities of this which Kalam is coming with. On that note, we will wind up the session. Keep the learnings in hand and make sure two things. One is you assess your level of preparation. Feasible, join the replay program. Force yourself to write the recently concluded mains examination and come out with objective analysis on what is your current level of preparation. Secondly, never miss out on your routine. Make an established routine for next 3 to 4 months till at least till January. Make sure you grind your mains preparation during this time, whether it is optionals, whether it is GS, whether it is essay answer writing, content building, whatever it be. Where is your lacking area? Current affairs. Find your lacking areas, country missing elements in your preparation, and build your preparation on this in the next 3 to 4 months. This is what you should focus. This is what you should focus on current affairs, and this is exactly what Kalam is offering. I hope you got a clear picture on this. On this note, we will wind up the session. Thank you so much.